Welcome to Glow Stick
Ministries.
Today's topic is how to read your Bible. All right, we are going to talk about ways to read the Bible. But first we want to talk about when you're reading the Bible, you should read it in
Context. What's context, Amber?
Okay, so if you read a verse, you read the verse or the couple paragraphs before or after that verse.
Right. That's right, Amber. So basically, the word context is not taking something out of its place in a story, so to speak. So if we're telling a story, and this is the story here, and we're reading this little chunk here, we want to know what came before it and after it so we know where it fits in that story. So when it comes to context, if you're just going to read one Bible verse, you might as well just go ahead and read what's around it for context, because oftentimes that will help you understand just that one Bible verse. Taking one Bible verse randomly, you can make it say all kinds of things, really, depending on what it is.
Right.
But if you take the context, most often it actually gives you a definition, so you don't have to try and figure it out or make it up of what it's talking about in context. And then taking in context whatever you're reading, take that context to a bigger level, not just the verses around you, take it to that whole chapter, then take it to that whole book, and then take it to the whole Bible. Whatever you're reading, the context will be about the immediate things. You also want to think about the context of where this fits in this chapter, who's talking to who, why is it being said, and then where does it fit into the whole story of the Bible. That's all context.
Who, what, where, when, why.
Yep. You got to read the Bible like a detective. You got to say, all right, who's talking to who right now, and what's the setting, what's the scenario, what's going on. Put yourself in the speaker and the recipient's shoes if you can, and that will help you understand what's going on to a deeper level.
So this brought up a question. We were talking about this earlier. If it's harmful to read, like open your Bible and just read one chapter and then close it. The next day, open your Bible, just randomly pick a verse, I guess it was
Yeah.
it, and then close your Bible, if that was harmful.
So if that's like the only consumption of the Bible you do, I think what I said was the word harmful is not really, like, there's no harm in ever just reading the Bible and consuming the content. Trying to understand what it actually means and stuff is better than that. It's not harmful necessarily, but it's also not necessarily profitable, I guess is what I said.
I think the big thing is that if you're doing that, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you are reading the Bible, but you're not reaping as much fruit. So if you were to read like the whole chapter or the whole book, you would get a better idea of what that verse means, which is context, than just opening it up and reading one verse. So or one paragraph or chapter. Like reading the book is going to be more helpful to understanding the bigger picture, which is the entire Bible.
And that comes back to something else we were talking about, kind of like separating the Bible out into like a New Testament and an Old Testament. Like, that really doesn't make any sense, because it's all one continuous flowing story and it all ties into each other. So if you ever had the thought like the New Testament is for us and the Old Testament is for people before or whatever, then that doesn't really make sense either, because when you take it all in context, it's all one. You can't have the New Testament at all without the Old Testament. A lot of the New Testament is actually quoting the Old Testament and fulfilling the prophecies of the Old Testament. So, I don't know,
Right.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Where do you start?
It's a good question. So, Amber, what's your suggestion? So, who are we talking to here? So, we're talking to somebody that's never even like read the Bible with this question. Like, okay, where do I start?
Well, and that was the big question that we had to answer. Like, who are we talking to? Because we have two different answers, and we were talking about two different groups of people. So if you are brand new to the Bible, and have not read that much or don't really know the story of Jesus, I would probably say the Gospel of John would be the best place to start, because that lays out kind of the story of Jesus.
And I said kind of the opposite person or whatever from what she was thinking of. Well, not really.
Group of people.
I would say, and I guess the caveat here would be like, if I had the opportunity to disciple somebody and it's like, they're like, hey, Tony, where do I start with the Bible? And I'm going to read this and we're going to walk through it together. I told her I would start someone in Revelation. And the reason is I would have a caveat with this, because Revelation, if you start them there, they're going to read it and it's going to be all kinds of symbols and stuff. And they'll be like, what the heck is all this? But the cool thing is is like I was telling Amber, Revelation is a bunch of symbols and mysterious type things, but every bit of it is explained elsewhere in the Bible. Like the old prophets talked about it and stuff. I like to think of Revelation as putting all the things in order, like a timeline kind of order that all the prophets talked about. If you were just to read through all the prophets, it'd be kind of jumbled up. You look at Revelation, it puts everything they were talking about in a timeline order. So if you were theoretically to consume Revelation before you read any of the rest of the Bible, you knew it like the back of the hand, and then you started in Genesis and read through the Bible, all these things all over the place are going to jump out and sound familiar to you because they're going to tie into what Revelation is talking about. And so that's why I thought it would be cool theoretically to know Revelation first and have it be kind of mysterious and then have it revealed as you read the Bible what it all means.
So that would work. What I would say is if you start to read, if you've never read the Bible or you're just starting and you start to read Revelation because he just told you to, and you start to, there's a lot of imagery in there, and if it doesn't make sense and you get confused and maybe discouraged because it like doesn't, some of it like doesn't make sense right away, then jump into John, because that will help you out a little bit with more of the story. And then, yeah, read Revelation at that point.
And I was going to say, I'll give one caveat, or you say that, and that's funny to me because I think that's true for anywhere in the Bible. If you jump into reading Matthew or John, you're not going to know who those characters were, who Jesus was, why Jesus came on the scene necessarily up front. So it still will be confusing, and that's actually part of the testimony that I have. When I started going through the Bible, yeah, it's confusing. You have all these questions, but as soon as you read through the book that you're reading multiple times, other books timed together, all of a sudden that one you started with, you go back and read it again a year later, it makes so much more sense because you have all these pieces from everywhere else to tie it together. So I think it's confusing no matter where you start, but I totally get what you're saying about
Right.
It was kind of like joking sort of, but not really about the Revelation thing.
So just start reading your Bible. There are different types of Bibles, and even different layouts. There's a chronological Bible. That's the one I was thinking of.
Chronology is time, so it puts everything when whoever the authors were figured out their best guess as to when things happened in order. So you're going to read like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or the parallel ones. Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they have stories that sound the same. You'll read the same story from each one right next to each other because it happened at that time or whatever.
Right. Quick nugget on different versions of the Bible.
Why are you showing me when you're talking, girl?
Because I wanted you to answer.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
What?
Like King James or...
Oh, different translations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quick nugget answer.
What do you want me to say about it there? Most of our translations come from one of either two like big old collections, either the Latin Vulgate or the Textus Receptus, I think. Unless those are the same. I don't really know, but they all kind of stem
We'll
from
look
the
in
same
and
thing.
comment on that below.
Well, the only comment I have on translations is I don't like being militant, sticking to one, like there's King James only people or whatever. And the reason I say that is because no matter which one you pick, there's certain things that really can't be directly translated into English anyways. So if you're saying my English Bible is perfect and yours isn't, that's just bogus on the base level, because Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic or whatever, translating them into English, sometimes there's not direct translations anyways. You have to translate a concept or an idea or whatever. So read as many as you can. That's what I'm saying. Take it one to the next. You like the Amplified Bible because it'll describe a little bit further.
I was going to say something and then
go
you
ahead.
kept talking. Okay, so what I was going to say was we use the app, the Bible, on our phones. And with that, as you're reading along, you can click verses. And
YouVersion, the Holy Bible app, it's called YouVersion.
Yes. And you can see the different versions of the Bible, and that's how we normally read it. There's also a website that does the same thing.
Bible Hub is one that comes up often.
And Biblos too. We'll link
Biblos.
Those down below a little bit later.
The one thing that the Bible app doesn't do that I recommend you do when you start getting into a little bit more advanced studies is looking at interlinear Bibles or looking at the original language meanings to what you're reading.
Yes.
I don't know if the app
That's
has
super
that
important,
feature.
and I don't think it does.
No.
Resources?
resources.
Kind of what we just went through.
Yep, that Bible app. You can go to, I know there's something called eSword, I believe is free, you can download, and that's like a search tool.
We'll link the websites in
Sure. We'll put some tools in the
Yeah.
links, guys.
Yeah, we'll do that for you.
Thanks for listening to us this long as we just kind of ramble off the cuff here. It's been a while since we've talked, and we got a lot to share. It's just hard to figure out exactly how to get it down into a message, so to speak. We're
All
kind of
right.
new to this.
We are. If you have any questions, post those below and we will answer those in, I think we'll do a question and answer video.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If we can get questions, it'd be awesome to do a question and answer video. Also, leave your comments as far as what your favorite translation is, anything that's helped you, like, understand the Bible, not just simply read it, but really kind of understand it and let it settle in and be real to you and help change your life. Any tips, things that have happened in your life, that'd be cool to hear about too.
Yes.
All right.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it for now.
Okay, I think that's it. We love you. Talk
Love
to you
you.
later.
Bye.